What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate podcast. Week 2 is in the books, and boy, do we have a lot of topics to talk about today. But first, if you are not following us on Instagram and TikTok, go over there and follow us at the Dorm Debate podcast. And we have a bunch of content going up on there. Our Instagram is popping right now. TikTok is going through the roof. We got like 1,300 subscribers. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. So we have a lot to discuss. I think the first thing we want to touch on, and I think it may be the main headline of week 2, is the injuries. Now, Caleb, you have a list of all the injuries of week 2, or at least the most notable ones. You want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. I'll just go over like you said, the most notable, the biggest ones that made headline. A lot of injuries this week, and I could list them all, and not that one player is more important than the other, but there were just so many this week that it's almost like an anomaly. So I'll just go through the biggest headlines that we've seen. First is Christian McCaffrey from the Panthers. Obviously, the main part, I'd argue, of the offensive game plan. It's expected that he'll be out of multiple weeks with a high ankle sprain. So that's, we're looking at 4 to 6 weeks as expectations. Next one would be Saquon Barkley. Notable because he's out for season with a torn ACL. Sorry to hear that for him. And let's see, another big one was Nick Bosa, defensive end for the San Francisco 49ers. Number 2 overall pick in the 2019 draft. And honestly, one of the best and funnest parts of that defense, and he's out for season, at least expected to. Jimmy Garoppolo in that game as well was according to this New York Times article, hit in the back of the leg early in the game. And it looks like he's injured for a little while, but not as bad as the other ones. Other here is Raheem Mostert, looking at possibly a strained MCL, but they're hopeful that he'll be back soon. Solomon Thomas, alongside on the defensive tackle, alongside Bosa, was also injured, although it says here it appeared that Thomas tore his ACL, though it might be less severe. So we'll see. A lot of these injuries are so new, it's hard to see the timelines yet for these players. Another big one, the wide receiver for the Broncos, Cortland Sutton, missed the season opener with an injury to the AC joint in his shoulder. And as well as Drew Lock in that game was injured and replaced by Jeff Driscoll, and he'll be out for a little while. Tavon Young, defensive back for the Ravens, did not return to his game. It looks like it's possible that he may be out for the season. Malik Hooker is a safety for the Colts, and the prognosis looks like he's out for the season. It's just so many there. If there's any other ones that you guys have off the top of your head I didn't mention. I know Cam Akers had a rib injury. Devontae Adams had a hamstring injury. Tyrod Taylor had a kind of I don't want to say a fluke, but a random chest injury before the game that led to Justin Herbert, who we'll talk about later, having to start. He didn't know he was starting till moments before, so we'll talk about that more. But Tyrod Taylor was out for the game. Any others that you guys know other than that? I'm looking at a huge list, but I just wanted to see what you guys, anything at the top of the head?
Yeah, I think there were a bunch of injuries. Those are definitely the main ones. I'd say probably the one that's most important is Nick Bosa. Not saying that the others, it's not important for their team, but I would say Barkley, but the Giants didn't really seem like they were pushing to win a division title anyway. So I think Bosa is probably the most important because the 49ers are a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. So when you lose your best defensive lineman, then that's going to definitely take a toll on you. Not to mention Garoppolo being hurt, Mostert, their backup running back Coleman, Kittle, the other defensive line, Solomon Thomas. I mean, this is a big blow to the 49ers fans, and hopefully they could bounce back. But that is a very tough division, and it's going to be tough to do it without Nick Bosa. I mean, they had DeForest Buckner last year, and now he's gone. So they don't have the depth that they had in previous years. So it's definitely going to be tough for them.
Yeah, I would say the 49ers, I mean, Nick Bosa definitely hurts the team overall, but there's a lot of superstar talent in Jimmy Garoppolo and Kittle, who will be back in a few weeks. I would say the one that is really hurtful is the Christian McCaffrey injury because he's the MVP. He's the clear MVP of the team. And without him, I don't think they have a chance of winning the division. I think they'll definitely struggle the rest of the season. Even if Christian McCaffrey comes back in 4 to 6 weeks, like they say, he won't be the same. I don't think he'll be fully healed yet. It's going to take next season until he's healed. So I think Carolina, they're just out of the playoff contention, and they're not going to win the division for sure after this injury, especially with the Saints and Bucks in that division. Even though the Saints lost, I think the Saints and the Bucks both are just the two competing for that divisional championship. I think probably one of those teams is going to end up being on the wild card. But I just don't think it's a race anymore for the Falcons. We saw what they did, and then the Panthers.
Yeah, I'd agree. That division, NFC South, has the Falcons, the Panthers, Saints, and the Bucks. Before McCaffrey's injury, the Panthers, it's kind of tough to say they would be the leader, but who knows? If we're answering the question of what was the biggest piece lost to a team, I'd still have to say Barkley. But like John, you said, I don't think they were contenders to really make a deep run. I think they're still building. If anything, it moves the timeline for rebuilding back a year because it was supposed to give a little cushion to Daniel Jones, and now he's kind of on his own, and a lot of the offense went around him. But ultimately, I think just the number of not just one injury, but the number of injuries on the 49ers makes it very hard for them to rise up, considering Thomas, Garoppolo, and then especially Bosa having to go against some of these quarterbacks. Like if they make it deep to a Mahomes or a Jackson, it would have been nice to have a Bosa on the end there to contain a little bit. So I think not talking about biggest, but maybe most that brought your ceiling down a lot. I would say happened to the 49ers with the loss of Bosa and all those other guys.
Mm-hmm.
Jared?
Yeah, I think mine. He is only out 3 to 5 weeks, but Drew Lock being out with the Broncos really kind of screws things up for Jono and the Broncos, because the last 5-6 years, ever since Peyton left, they've had a quarterback carousel, and they had Joe Flacco last year, and Drew Lock came in for the last 6 games and produced. He got wins. I think he was 5-1 in the last 6 games. But with this injury, yet again, he won't have a full season to go off of. Not like the Broncos were going to do anything fantastic, but I think from looking into the future, it is tough because the Broncos just signed Blake Bortles. So most likely they're going to go with either Jeff Driscoll or Blake Bortles. And with Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, those two young guys are not going to have, a great quarterback, or at least they're for their franchise guy. And you need to get those reps in, especially with no preseason. So I think with Drew Lock's injury, that really jars things up for the Broncos. And yet again, they're struggling to find a quarterback, and they are not 100% in Drew Lock yet, which sucks, because I thought this was the year that he could prove himself. But with that injury, who knows if he'll be back in 3 to 5 weeks and be 100%. It's kind of like what Jonathan said about Christian McCaffrey. You have that ankle injury, but who knows when you're going to be 100%. They might put you in if you're, 80%, and you're not going to produce as much. So from that standpoint, I would say Drew Lock. But with all the injuries, let's get to something a little more positive, at least for Jonathan over here. The Cowboys. How about them Cowboys, Jonathan?
How about them Cowboys?
Huge comeback win. Huge comeback win for the Cowboys. They beat the Falcons by 1 point on a field goal. And I think the play of the game that we're all thinking about right now is that onside kick. Did they just forget the rules? Like, did Hayden Hurst and all the Falcons just forget that you could touch the ball?
Basically, yeah, that's part of what happened, and the coaching is horrendous.
Horrendous.
This is Dan Quinn needs to be fired like right now. This
I
is like
100% agree with you.
this is just as bad as the Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys realize, but like there was a stat by Pro Football Focus that since 1933, teams that scored 39 points in a game and that had 0 turnovers were 440-0. And now they're 440-1. Like, how could you be one of those 441 teams and you're the one that blows it? And not only that it's the first time that you did it in the Super Bowl and it's the worst playoff lead blown ever. And I can't even fathom this. This guy needs to be, I don't even know why he's still in the room like today. Like, he should be gone.
Not only that, bro, but he called a timeout before the onside kick. Like, what did you talk about?
I don't know. What do they talk about?
Like,
they probably just stared at each other. I don't know. I mean, how do you put your guys out there and you don't know what the rule is? It's like they thought that they had to wait for 10 yards. They didn't think
that's
they could
exactly
touch
what they thought.
Yeah, like they had the social distance from the ball.
Yeah, exactly. I have some stats.
It was like the ball had the coronavirus for.
It was hard to watch.
I mean, seriously, how could you?
So I did some research because the Falcons blew that Super Bowl lead, but I felt like they've blown a lot more. And since Dan Quinn has been coach in 2015, they've blown 5 14 points or more leads 5 times. And just for like correlation, the Panthers, who are obviously the worst of the division, have only blown 2 since 2015. They've come back from a 14-point deficit once. So not only do they get down and they stay down, but also when they have a lead, they get relaxed and they let the team come back. It's terrible coaching. I think it's all in the coaching. You have Julio Jones, you have Matt Ryan, you have a rising star in Calvin Ridley. You have Dan Quinn is a defensive coach, and you're letting up 40 points.
You literally brought Gurley in the offseason so that when you got a lead, you could run and he could milk the clock. Like, why? I don't understand why you aren't using him. I mean, I've been a part of a team that was similar to this where we would always blow a lead. It wasn't in football, but it's the worst feeling, and you lose trust in your coach, and there's no coming back from this. I guarantee Dan Quinn and the Falcons, if he's the head coach, they'll never win another division title, and they'll never win another playoff game, to be honest with you, because there's just no trust. There's just no way you could trust this guy. And every time you get a lead, you're like, oh, well, I guess all right, we're still tied, I guess, you know?
Yeah, and with the players they have, there's no excuses.
None.
Yeah, I think it's a tough situation for the Falcons. A lot of people are giving them crap and everything, but like,
don't even tell me that the Cowboys won this game. They played so bad.
I know, no. Well, let me tell you. First of all, that onside kick, to start with that, I've never seen anybody kick it like that.
I've never seen that either.
That was a really unique way to kick that onside kick.
It was
actually stupid because it made it easy for the defense if they had a brain on their head. But
the thing is,
in the reverse. If it went in the air, they would have caught it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, if I was doing it nowadays, I just kick it as hard as I can at one of their faces so that it bounces off. That's the only way to do it. Or
I do that in Madden.
Or you could do the same thing that Zerline did and just hope that they have a freaking brain freeze for like a second.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The thing about that is, yes, you can get it before 10 yards, but if you miss it, then, the Cowboys can get it. That's the thing.
Right.
They're getting paid millions of dollars a year. They better not miss a ball that's laying on the ground.
Right. They were so afraid of messing up that they didn't touch. Like because the rule is if the receiving team touches it and it's like loot, the moment they touch it, and it's swatted out before they possess it, then it's a live ball. But either they didn't know the rules or they were so scared that they just would rather wait for the 10 yards. I don't know. It just doesn't. Yeah.
Give us your.
Do you think the Cowboys deserve this win?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Cowboys definitely deserve this. Reason being, look, they made a lot of mistakes. Like they made a lot of mistakes. I'm not gonna lie. You saw the defensive struggles we had. And, giving up 39 points is unacceptable for sure if you want to win the division.
Mhm.
And then offense, too many mistakes, 3 turnovers in the first quarter. I mean, Dak,
Freaking
I think fumbled or something.
Zeke had
fumbled,
butter on his hands for the first 5 minutes of the game.
Exactly,
He lost it 3 times.
Exactly. And look, the best coach teams, I say this, the best coach teams don't make many mistakes. Their teams don't make many mistakes. And these past couple weeks have been a bad look on Coach McCarthy, I think, in terms of last week not being aggressive enough and bad fourth down calls. And then this week, so many mistakes in the first quarter from your offense, those superstars. This is a bad look on him so far. So, I think some of that is Coach McCarthy. But look, our team is talented. Our offense is talented, especially. CeeDee Lamb, he went off this game.
Okay.
This guy, you can put hope in this guy.
No, I'm not saying he went off. I say he did okay because this is what happens. Everybody thinks Dak is so good. This is what happens. They let the team get a far ahead, and everybody's like, "Oh, Dak has 450 passing yards."
450. Yep.
Yeah, it's because the defense doesn't give a shit anymore. They're letting him pass it down low. So, and then CeeDee Lamb takes it another 30 yards after the catch, and Dak is getting so much credit. He didn't throw it downfield once. I didn't see one long pass.
What are you talking about? The Amari Cooper one-handed catch? That was pretty far.
That was all Cooper. You know that. That was he almost blew it. Like Dak way overthrew him, and Amari just somehow caught up to it.
Yeah, like we have all 3 of our receivers are good. You have Cooper with that one-handed catch, Gallup with that incredible catch where he fell on his butt or something.
Gallup's good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Gallup's
underrated.
Good.
Underrated.
Yeah, and CeeDee Lamb, that clutch catch where you put that guy on skates, the defender on skates. Go back and watch the highlights.
No, the guy tripped, dude. He didn't make a move
skates.
on him. It was at the top of his route. The guy tripped.
That was great footwork, and that was great footwork. I'm telling you. That was great
come
footwork.
on now.
So CeeDee Lamb put a name for himself. Out of all the rookies, he's not another one of the rookies I'm looking at now. He made a statement for the campaign for Rookie of the Year. So you guys watch out for him. Yes. Are you kidding me?
For Rookie of the Year, wide receiver never win it.
Well, we'll see because this guy, when the game was on the line, he showed up, and that's what you want. That's when superstars rise. I was
more impressed by Zeke's run at the goal line that time, where he just put his head down and ran that guy over into the end zone.
Yeah. We know what Zeke can do, but just to be fair, Atlanta, they do have some injuries on their defensive backs. Kendall Sheffield, he's hurt. He's a cornerback. Ricardo Allen, he's a cornerback that's hurt, and then Jordan Miller. So that's why they're struggling from a secondary perspective, and that's kind of what helped us come back in the second half. I don't think you can blame Dan Quinn too much, right? Because of the personnel situations. And again, I think we got really lucky. That was a great onside kick. CeeDee, he showed up for us. I think it was just more of a miraculous game more than just a blame game for Dan Quinn. Cowboys offense. Our defense needs to improve. Coach Mike McCarthy needs to, discipline this team, decrease the turnovers, and I think this team could go places this year.
I don't know about that. The path to the playoffs in that division is going to be pretty easy. Cowboys.
Remember like 2-3 years ago, like in Global Village, we were like, this is the best division in football, and now it's literally the worst.
It's literally the bottom of the barrel now.
Well, when we say best division, when we make it to the playoffs, we do great stuff. Eagles.
That is not true at all.
They
That's actually the least true thing you've ever said.
Yeah, that's literally the worst.
No.
When you get to the playoffs, you guys choke.
Yeah.
No,
you guys had a number 1 seed and you lost.
The NFC East has a lot of Super Bowl, like between. That's a good amount of competition within the last 20-ish years. But you're right. Yeah, this is because I was an Eagles fan. I was, it was Eagles game ended. It's reeling from the wound was fresh, and we were watching the Falcons game just to get a little solace, just a little peace. Just looking at this lead that they had and seeing a division rival lose it's gonna at least and then the Washington football team, we're planning on them losing. So then the division would be generally flat. Eagles might be 0-2, but it's a one game. Man, yeah. And then to see them blow it like that, it was so sad. as an Eagles fan. It was so sad, but it shows how the division. I mean, we're only 2 weeks in, so it feels worse than it statistically is. I saw,
Yeah.
So the season's young. Season's young. I think the Cowboys. I would say the Cowboys, had mistakes, but whoever deserves the win is the one. But I mean, that's a mistake on the Falcons. Like their opponent messed up. Like what are you gonna do? Not take it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then that was a clutch getting to the field goal. Because that wasn't guaranteed, although it was already onside. But I don't want to talk about it anymore. It hurts.
Okay, so as well as the Cowboys getting a comeback victory, we had Sunday Night Football, Patriots versus the Seahawks, and it was a fantastic game. I mean, I predicted
Great
it would be
game.
low scoring, but what a game this was. I mean, down to the final play. Granted,
Yep.
that was, at least from what I saw, that was a terrible play call, in my opinion.
Yes, definitely.
The last one, you mean? With
The
what,
last
Newton?
one, Cam Newton just grabbed it and ran left.
Read option. Yeah, that was so
I don't know
stupid.
why he
Come
wasn't
on,
even
Josh
in-
McDaniels.
Wasn't
I
even a
thought he'd
read
go
option.
straight at least.
He just
Why-
grabbed it and ran. There was no
Why was that stupid?
because it was so obvious. Like
It
everyone,
was obvious, yeah.
Did
He already had
did you
two
see
touchdowns.
he made the wrong read. He went inside. Did you see if he bounced it outside, he would have literally walked into the
Well,
end
that's
zone.
what I'm saying.
No,
Like
no. You're supposed to follow your blocker on those plays.
they
You have to
they
follow that
should have
fullback.
done a read option at the very least. Like fake it to the give him some like a decision to make or
I
Yeah.
thought QB
allow.
sneak. I thought QB sneak just straight. When he went left, I was like, why? I don't know. That was I don't. He's a
just
big
thought it
guy. Brady would make those 1 yard, goal line
Mhm.
sneaks.
Yeah.
So I was
It
like, why
should
not
have been
try
a-
it with Newton?
Yeah, yeah. It should have been a passing play, and if need be, he could have, rushed it in.
Yes, a
Um,
rollout, nice rollout to the right.
Yeah.
Boom. You had two decisions, but nevertheless, he had a fantastic game. 397 yards,
Yeah.
a touchdown, and 2 touchdowns rushing. He's playing like the MVP that we remember from Carolina. You have
Yeah.
to admit.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
hate
No,
I hate
he's
to bring
not
this
playing-
back.
No, he's not playing like the MVP. He's
He
playing
almost
okay.
threw 400 yards.
It's the second game of the season.
But up to this point, even in fantasy, he has like top 10 QB
A
points.
lot of points. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot of points.
People are saying Superman's back.
This is the Cam that we needed to see as the leader of the Patriots. He has to do it all. He has to rush it. He's got to pass it. And at the end of the game, he could have been, the hero, but he has time to improve in that.
Yeah,
aspect.
but Matt Ryan threw 4 touchdowns on Seattle. So, and now Newton gets 4 touchdowns. So Dak's going to get 4 touchdowns. It's like Seattle's defense isn't that great. And no defense right now. Name one defense in the league that's playing great. Like everybody's scoring points. Everybody's playing well.
Ravens probably playing the best.
Yeah.
But no, still, but for Cam to be out for that amount of time and then come back in his second game and throw for almost 400 yards and rushing, he's running the ball. He looks healthy. He looks fantastic. That. That's what the Patriots need to see. And I think a lot of the teams that needed QBs in the offseason are shaking their head, and they made a big mistake in not picking up Cam.
Yep. I hate to bring this back, John. A few podcasts ago, you said Cam wasn't a top 15 quarterback.
He's not.
And you still think so?
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think
He
as of
did-
this point in the season, he's top 15.
Yeah.
As of right now, he is. But
Yeah, it
I
is
don't
only
think-
week 2.
for this whole season, I don't think he will be. I think as the weeks move on, we'll see defenses start. There's been like almost no defensive touchdowns. There's only been a couple. No team has gotten there's only one game that the team got single digits, and it was the Ravens and Browns. I think the Browns got 6 points. Like everybody's scoring points right now. So I think in the coming weeks, you're going to see defenses start to get on the same page. And because they had no practice time, everybody was during the pandemic, everybody was home, nobody could practice anything. And all these coaches, offensive coaches, could game plan new plays that nobody's ever seen before. All they had was time on their hands. So now the offenses are ahead of the defenses as of right now. But in a few games, you're going to see when the Patriots play the Bills, you're going to see Cam struggle. And you're going to see other teams struggle. Everybody's scoring points now. Everybody's fantasy points are through the roof. So,
Yeah,
I still think it's impressive. Sorry, what, Jared?
no, you're good. I was just going to talk about the Patriots as a whole, but keep talking.
Well, it's to add on the Cam. I was just going to say what you were going to say, bouncing off what you were saying earlier about Cam Newton. I mean, it is impressive for a quarterback to have that. He was out kind of, and no one heard from him for, a while there because of the injuries. And I think we as fans, we look at it as like, oh, just timeline. But to recover, like that's a lot of physical pain. Mentally, you're held back when your body can't do something you want it to do. And especially in the quarterback position when people are saying you're done. I mean, we're saying this after a game they lost, so this is a weird thing, but it was a close game. And I think it shows, I mean, my caveat is always a healthy Cam Newton is a contender with that coaching behind it. And I would say, too, it was mentioned by the commentators during the game, but if they had made that touchdown and come on top, the Patriots, I think New England fans would start to believe, and I think they have reason to right now, but that's like a magic moment if you get it. Now we look at the body of work the past 2 weeks, and I think he's shown to be his own brand of quarterback after Tom Brady. But, I mean, going up against the Seahawks, we can talk a little bit about them too, but Russell Wilson's hot right now. Like they're saying he's putting up MVP numbers. I have him on fantasy. It's a good feeling right now. And them and them Seahawks are looking to make a run. So to be that close with the Seahawks, as they generally have pretty good bouts between the two of them. So that's kind of always fun to watch. But, never without Tom Brady. So with Newton there and it's still this close, I think it says a lot about his talent.
yeah, Russell's going to be the MVP this season.
It's a disgrace that he
We'll
has
see.
not gotten a single MVP vote in his whole career.
It is a disgrace.
Who is on the ballot? Like, I don't understand
Did you see
how that's possible.
Did you see like his deep throws? They always talk about it, but if you watch it, it's like I was watching the game and he threw a deep throw to Metcalf, and I'm like, right when it left his hand, I'm like, well, he's perfect on deep throws, so I guess it's a touchdown, and it was. More on field, back shoulder by the pylon, like that's just ridiculous. This guy just chucks it up, and I don't know if he doesn't if he closes his eyes or something, but it's just perfect every time. Like
I think we'll end it there and start into our next segment of the podcast, Something or Nothing. Back for week 2. We like the game so much that we decided to add it to week 2 of the podcast. So, something or nothing. We are going to start with my guy, Justin Herbert, against the reigning Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Justin Herbert threw for 311 yards, 2 TDs, and rushed for a touchdown, 1 interception, and got the loss. So if he got the win, no turnovers, I would have given him an A+. I personally give him an A for that start. Granted, they told him 10 minutes in advance that he was going to be starting. So that's a pretty good stat line, and you take the reigning champs into overtime. I give him an A for that. Is Justin Herbert throwing all those yards, scoring touchdowns, rushing for a touchdown, almost beating the Super Bowl champs? John, is that something or is it nothing?
that is something.
Hey.
This guy, I mean, to come in, like you said, 10 minutes before, Tyrod didn't know he wasn't playing until pregame. He comes in and he fires it all over the place. He looked like he's been in that system for 3-4 years.
He looked so comfortable in the pocket.
He did look comfortable. He was getting it to his guys, letting them make plays because, frankly, the Chiefs, they couldn't really tackle. I mean, I don't know what was going on because their defense, every time Eckler or Kelly or Allen or Henry caught the ball, it's like at least one guy missed a tackle. I don't know what happened, but it was still good. Herbert recognized that, got it to his open guys. But the turning point in the game, like you said, that interception, I knew it. 19 seconds left in the third quarter. I remember
Could have rushed
exactly.
for the first down.
He literally had the first down was right there. Yeah, rush it right there. You didn't have to force a throw or anything, and that's it. One mistake against the Super Bowl champs, and you're gonna lose. So like he's gonna learn that you can't make any mistakes against the Chiefs because if you give Mahomes one extra chance, he's gonna win the game.
Yep.
So that was his only mistake. So I would also give him an A because that was literally his only mistake. Other than that, they would have won. So that was an awesome start, and I hope he does better. Like keeps doing well. I hope they give him the nod next week, and I'm sure they will.
So Anthony Lynn said if Tyrod's healthy, they will start Tyrod, and he
I
said
don't believe that.
Tyrod he was the starter for a reason, so that's why they're gonna go with him if he's healthy. I think that's a big.
I don't believe.
Justin Herbert reminds me of Cam. Justin Herbert's 6'6". Like he doesn't look it, but he's huge. And to have that arm talent and be able to rush the ball, he looked so comfortable in the pocket. I mean, it was like he was not even phased. I mean, to go into the game 10 minutes before and you're facing the Super Bowl champs, like I would be literally scared out of my mind. And he was just like freaking easy money. Jonathan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. So, I think Justin Herbert is really great talent, exceptional player, strong arm, but I think this is nothing. And the reason being, 10 minutes before, he knew he was starting, right?
Yes.
But the first play, the Chiefs defense knew they weren't playing against the quarterback they prepped for. So they had no film on this guy. They didn't know what to expect. And that gave Justin Herbert the opportunity to, be himself and do what he does. But, this defense had never seen this guy before. And so, obviously, it's going to kind of startle them a little. And that's what you saw throughout the game. And I think another reason why Justin Herbert, looked good is because the Chargers defense played well against the Chiefs offense and was giving them many opportunities. And so that kind of helped Justin Herbert. Say that Mahomes and the Chiefs kept on scoring, then we'd be saying sort of a different story. So look, I think Justin's good. I'd rate him a B+ for that first game. I want to see more of him.
Mm-hmm.
Now a team, I don't know who will play next week, but now teams have a little bit of film on him and know how to prepare for him better. Because every quarterback is different. Even though the plays are the same, every quarterback plays their own style. So I think we have to wait a few games before we kind of crown this guy. But again, hey, as a backup quarterback and as your first start in the NFL, that was really impressive. But I think this is nothing.
But you think Herbert, like we have to give him a couple games before we put the crown on him. But Cam, you could after 2 games with the Patriots, you could just put a crown on him.
Well, yeah, he went to the Super Bowl before, and he has a ton of experience. And so I think that's a reason why you kind of crown Cam, because he looks similar to how he looked in the past couple of years. Justin Herbert, this is his first NFL start. We haven't seen him before. We don't know if he's consistent. Consistency is a mark of a champion, and that's really important. Some quarterbacks can play really well one game and play bad another game. We have to see if Justin Herbert's one of those guys. So you have to wait a while before you kind of crown him. But Cam, we know he can do. He looks like his normal self, so that's why.
That's fair. Caleb?
Yeah, I'll say I really liked what I saw. It's a pretty impressive story that, as a backup, you hope that you don't – part of you wants to play, but then it's a bad scenario if you do. But to hear 10 minutes before you're playing the Super Bowl reigning champions that you have to go up against them your rookie year, that's a lot to put on a young guy's shoulders. And I think he carried himself super well. I think it is, 1 game's too soon to talk about what his legacy and what his career will look like. But at a glance, unless it's lightning in a bottle, I think y'all have a really good quarterback there in the backup position at with the Chargers. I see why the coach says if Tyrod comes back, he's starting, because they must have seen, they had the whole training camp to assess. So, but there must be reasons, maybe over time we'll see it. But at a glance, he played like he's been doing it for years at that position. He looked calm, collected. I mean, just the confidence he carried. It's hard to describe those intangibles, other than the statistics and how close the game was against the Super Bowl. I mean, I would say, I don't think anyone would disagree that the Chiefs have a better offense than a defense. So there's that, but they still have a defense that won a Super Bowl last year. So for the rookie quarterback to come in and, do that well, that confidently, and not seem that, off his feet despite 10 minutes before not knowing, I think it's something. I don't know if you give him the ball yet. I mean, that coach, he's a good coach, gotten the Chargers up higher places than they have in recent years. So I'm sure he knows what he's talking about. But if he's got a hot hand, maybe you give him the ball more. Because you want to, at the end of the day, you want to win games. And the way he was playing against the Chiefs looks like the kind of quarterback you'd want to make a deep run with that Chargers defense as well, to do, carry more of the load maybe because he is a rookie, but might allow him to make mistakes and grow as the season goes on. But I think there's something there.
I totally agree with everything that you just said. It is 100% something. If they were facing the Jets, I would say it's nothing. But to face the Chiefs, that is definitely saying something. And to not even prep with the first stringers in practice. I mean, usually the backups will go the second string. So he didn't even practice with these players. And Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, they were fired up. Like when they caught the ball from him, like they were fired up. They were celebrating. Like they acted like he was the starter and he had been the starter for the longest time. So I'm very happy as a Chargers fan, and I hope that Herbert will start in the future. I think John mentioned in one of our first podcasts that if Herbert starts, week 1 or week 2, that Chargers have a chance to make the playoffs, and I think I'm starting to believe that more and more. Because I wasn't happy with the offense when Tyrod was in. We only scored 17 points against the Bengals. You got to score way more than that with the weapons that you have at receiver and tight end. You got to be able to use them.
Yeah,
and
the Browns put up over 30 points. If the Browns could put up over 30 points, you should be able to.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think Justin Herbert maximizes this team's potential better. If you have Austin Eckler, then you don't really need a Tyrod to be a dual threat quarterback.
But
Justin
I thought you were saying that dual threat quarterback are the way to go now. Like Herbert is way less mobile.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert, he can run if he needs to, but you have Austin Eckler who's really good at receiving. He's basically a receiver and running back. So if you have somebody like him, you have to really utilize him more. And Tyrod Taylor, I wasn't really seeing that because he can run himself. So it depends what team you're on, but generally that's what I'm saying. Dual threats are better in the league. But look, safeties, look at Tyrann Mathieu. When they're watching film, they look at everything on a quarterback. Everything the quarterback does, like if the quarterback turns this way, then he's gonna, do this, he's gonna do that. They have film on Justin Herbert now, so believe you me, this is just the beginning. Let's wait and see how he performs because teams have film on him now. So that's all I'm saying.
I feel bad, but I feel like deja vu for Tyrod Taylor. It's like the same thing happened with the Browns. He goes down with an injury. Baker Mayfield comes in, plays great, and then he's the starter for the rest, and Tyrod's left in the dust. I see that coming. If Anthony Lynn didn't like Tyrod so much, because they have a connection back from, when Tyrod was in Baltimore or something, but they didn't have that connection. I think clear starter Justin Herbert, but if Tyrod's healthy, they're going to put him in. But I see that coming. I think I see Herbert taking over just like Baker Mayfield did. But let's move on. Another something or nothing is the 49ers. Now, they beat the Jets, but at what cost? Basically everything. They lost Nick Bosa. They lost Solomon Thomas. They lost Jimmy Garoppolo. Tevin Coleman is doubtful for the next game. Moister is doubtful for the next game. Dee Ford is doubtful. George Kittle is questionable. Who is left? I don't know. Deebo Samuel, I have no idea. But
he's hurt too.
He's hurt too. So I have no clue who's on that team at all. You could quiz me. I have no clue. Couldn't give you an answer. So in that division, you have the Cardinals in first place, tied with the Seahawks. The 49ers are in dead last, and they went to the Super Bowl last year. Is this a problem, John, or we'll start with Caleb. Is this something or nothing, Caleb?
I think it's something for the 49ers.
Something.
With all those injuries, it's going to be their schedule. Let's go through their schedule for the next few weeks, because the only long-term injury is, well, not the only, but Nick Bosa for sure is out for the season, right?
And Tom.
In the coming weeks, they do play the Giants, then the Eagles, the Dolphins, but then they play the Rams, Patriots, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, bye week, Rams, Bills, Washington football team, the Cowboys, Cardinals in week 16, and week 17 the Seahawks again. To get through that spate with the injury window, I think those are possible losses. Okay, so just looking at it statistically, if I dare say, I think it's a tough hole. It's just injuries are part of the game, but you can't really beat around it. I just think so many key players, unless the next man up can carry that weight, it's going to be hard for them to beat some of these more competitive teams. And at least, you then you start to look at how you're going to make the playoffs. And starting if that at the bottom of the division, it stays that way, it's going to be relatively hard to get that wild card spot.
Yeah, this is definitely something. If you're anybody and you think that the 49ers still have a chance to win the division, then you're biased or something. Like, there has to be something wrong with you, because there's no way that they can win the division with all these injuries. And in this season especially, I know I keep mentioning the pandemic, but if you have starters that are out that know the system, now you have backups and you have rookies and you have first year, second year players that are new with the team. They haven't had time to practice. You can't just throw a guy in, especially this season, and expect them to play nearly as well. I mean, they could probably beat the Giants and the Dolphins, but beyond that, even if Jimmy G comes back without Bosa, without Thomas, without D Ford, without Debo, Kittle is on and off. I mean, this is definitely something. I don't think they might be able to get a wild card spot, maybe, but they're definitely not going to win the division. It's either the Cardinals or the Seahawks, I think. So definitely something.
Yeah, I agree with all you. This is definitely something. The 49ers can kind of consider their season done. The reason being, you have the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is performing well with DeAndre Hopkins. He's putting up Kyler Murray's putting up MVP numbers. Then you have Russell Wilson in there. Obviously, he's doing great things there. Then the Rams are starting to look like they did in the past couple of years.
Yeah,
so you have three teams doing really well, and then you have all these injuries, and Garoppolo's out for a couple of weeks, and Kittle and Bosa. There's no chance they'll make the wild card even. I'm saying that. You can mark that on the wall, take that to the bank. They're not making the playoffs by any means this year. So it's an unfortunate situation. Hopefully players can heal up and bounce back next year.
I totally agree. It's hard to argue that it's nothing. It's definitely something, especially when you put on that the Cardinals slapped them up in week 1, and they had Nick Bosa and they had Solomon Thomas, and they were slapping them all around. They freaking beat them up. And now you got to face them again without those two players. Good luck. You guys are coming in last. I told y'all are coming in last. And the Cardinals are coming first. There's no debating it whatsoever. This is week 2, and I'm already saying I'm right. This is just too easy. It's too easy.
It's a little early for that, but I would give you that. You did predict this. So far, you're 100% right. So
it's not that I was predicting any injuries. I feel bad for that part. But they had all those players, and they still lost to the Cardinals. So that's my justification is they had all those players, and they still lost. So you're not going to win without those players. Yeah.
So, Jonathan, just quickly, now that you mentioned the Rams and that they're playing well, I just want to say that I can't wait until Sunday when they lose to the Bills. Just saying,
I promise you the Rams won't lose to the Bills.
What?
Bills fans, you're going to lose this weekend.
No.
I didn't know they were playing the Rams this weekend. This is awesome. This is perfect. This is the
no.
brick wall I was talking about. Josh
What?
Allen
The
will be tested
Rams?
this weekend.
You think the
Yes.
Rams are better than the Bills?
The Rams are way better than the Bills. Are you kidding me?
What?
Way better than the Bills.
Stop it.
Are you kidding me?
Stop
Yeah.
the
You
nonsense.
you think Jared Goff is better than Josh Allen?
I don't know about that, but I do know the coach is better. I know they have a better all-around team. I know they can take a lot of time off the clock when they're running their offense,
What?
which will hurt the Bills. Look, I think the Rams are going to destroy the Bills this weekend.
What?
Look,
Dude,
yes, they will.
You want to put money on this?
Why don't we go through so Jonathan, you think the Rams win? John,
Yeah.
you think the Bills win?
I promise you the Bills will win this weekend. I promise you.
John, who has the better offense?
The Bills have a way better offense.
And who
Are you
has the
kidding
better
me?
defense?
The Bills definitely have the
So
better
who wins
defense.
the
That's not
game?
even a question.
No,
The
no.
Bills
Jared, do you have
defense
the
is way
Bills?
better, and it's not even close.
Have you
And
forgotten about Sean McVay? One of the greatest offensive masterminds? You forgot about him? Who went to the Super Bowl a couple years
dude,
ago? I don't think so.
that
They're
was
not
a
losing to the
couple-
Bills.
that was a couple years ago. Now the Bills have Stephon Diggs. Did you forget about the Minneapolis Miracle? This guy's a prodigy in freaking Minnesota.
Diggs is good, but the Bills aren't good. Bills, Buffalo fans, I'm sorry, but I can't imagine you guys being good at football in the foreseeable future.
Psychologically, you can't get. This is not the way we grew up with the Bills always being bad. Now it's like we
Yeah.
can't.
They
No.
are.
There's no way, especially against the
amazing.
Rams. Especially against Rams. Are you kidding me, John? I can't believe you say that. I
can't
hope you
bel-
remember this.
Wait,
I
wait
can't
a minute.
believe-
Wait a minute.
I can't believe that you don't think
Wait,
the Bills are good. Like, I
Jared,
can't-
what do you have? Jared, what's your
Caleb,
comment?
you recently just faced the Rams. Give us your thoughts on that. Like, are they a good team or are the Eagles doo-doo?
Ugh. Put me in a corner here.
Like, did the Rams win because the Eagles had a bunch of injuries?
Honestly, and
Yeah.
I hate part of it's that. Part of it I have to say was Carson Wentz keeping them competitive.
So the Eagles
Uh,
lost it. The Rams didn't win it.
Yeah, all right. To start off though, considering the Bills conversation, Jared Goff played extremely well. Like they put a stat that I think he put up the record for so far this season for the most consecutive passes made. It was like 13, 14. And so he was playing so sharp, like any quarter. Half he started to fall off, and what you might say is like the worst parts of Jared Goff in terms of sometimes regressing a bit in the second half. But for the first part, started off strong. So when it comes to the Bills or the Rams, if he holds up that composure that he started off in the half with, I think they could win. But I gotta go overall though. I gotta go with the Bills. I'm not as diehard about
Thank you.
it, but I gotta go with the Bills on this one. I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Yeah. No worries. And look, I think the Eagles are okay and the Cowboys are decent teams. I think the Rams just perform better. And look, let me just say one thing. I know, Caleb, you don't want to mention the Eagles, but I
You
think
can talk about it. It's gonna come up.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that I think the Eagles had a good opportunity to keep the game close. But again, Carson Wentz,
Yeah,
he's kind of been
pick.
struggling.
That
Yeah, he's
pick
kind
at
of
the end,
been
yeah.
struggling.
It kept
And
them
I
in
don't
it.
think
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just on the field play. But remember that story that came, that circulated like a year or so ago regarding Carson Wentz and his teammates and how they found him as egotistical and all those things. I think there's a locker room problem. A lot of people don't respect Carson Wentz on the team. And you're starting to see that on the field with the team chemistry. He's missing all these throws. When he's going back to the sideline, nobody's greeting him. And virtual fans are booing him. It's kind of a sad situation.
I think what's happening, I won't go too deep into this, but I think what's happening is when they brought Hurts in, I don't know why, but he's feeling a lot of pressure, I think, because every play, I feel like he's trying to go for the end zone or something. Like he's always trying to make the best play. Like sometimes you need to dump it off. Sometimes you need to go to the tight end across the middle. He's trying to force it into double coverage. He's trying to chuck it downfield. And then it's like instead of 2nd and 5, now you have 2nd and 10. And then if you have an incompletion, it's 3rd and 10, and then your chances are like 20% the way you guys have been playing. So it's like you gotta. I don't know if I guess Peterson. Peterson needs
You know
to do
what you need to
something.
do.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, I mean, because Kayla's my friend and stuff, but these are to all the people on TikTok on the comments, all those Eagles fans. Guys, this is what we told
No.
you.
They were
This is
calling
what
me
we told you.
crazy. They were saying
Yeah,
it was the stupidest take they've ever heard.
yeah.
Don't
Jonathan,
hold
back
back.
me up.
Don't hold back. And no, I got to be candid. We're all friends here, so it's all fine. I will say, admittedly, by week 3, if this trend continues, regressing, I'm not saying put Hurts in, but take a hard look at what's happening. Because the problem with Carson Wentz, and I said it every podcast, but to me, he's the guy. And I say that because he has his ceiling is astronomical. Like he's able to be a game changer, create magic out of nowhere. Like some quarterbacks are good at the check down, older quarterbacks. Some just getting completions, getting yards through the
Drew
receivers.
Brees.
Like they're good quarterbacks, but they're not fun to watch. Unlike I think people are fun to watch: Mahomes, Jackson, Wilson. There's some element to being a good quarterback that's also entertaining, and I think Wentz has flashes of brilliance, which makes it so hard for me to say he's not the guy. Like I don't want to say Hurts can't, but he's by year 5 we shouldn't have to be giving excuses for Wentz, and he definitely hasn't been playing well the past 2 weeks. Season's young, but if by game 3 we're having these problems, we really have to do some reassessing because we need him the whole season, the whole 16 games. So by week 3, if it's tough, I mean, I don't know if the solution's putting Hurt in. I don't believe that, but it's more change whatever's wrong. We got to change it by week 3. That's what I'm saying. I think putting in Hurts is too. Like I said last week, Wentz is good, but it hurts as an Eagles fan right now, especially because I mean, just seeing that quarterback who had an MVP caliber season regress a little bit hurts,
Mhm.
So.
Oh yeah, there was that quote that somebody asked Peterson, why is Wentz regressing, and he said, "That's a good question."
I saw.
So
Yeah, and
I mean,
crazy picks.
they do need to do some reassessing. I know it is early. I keep saying this for every team, but I wouldn't say do it before. I wouldn't make a QB change within week 6, even if they're 0-6. I still would make the change. Like it's still too early.
You did see them put in Jalen Hurts for a couple plays at the goal line, which we did expect. Start to roll out some formations with him in it.
And they worked.
Yeah,
Just
they did
having him
work.
on the field, it
That's what we
changed
were
up.
saying. Like just
Well,
use
he
it.
didn't throw the ball, but yeah, that's something I would say as start using him as a Taysom Hill character. I think that would open up, because then if you're doing a flea flicker or some kind of option reverse or something like that where he could throw, that was kind of, I would actually say with Hurts being on the field was when we started to introduce variables against the Rams defense and started to get a little edge, starting to convert more that we needed. It was just the picks that Carson Wentz has thrown have been so questionable for him. Like it's weird to see, because last season he had no receiver over 500 yards. He still kind of willed the team into the playoffs. Like he's a good quarterback, but just these past 2 weeks have been shaky. So I hope whatever's wrong he fixes.
Yeah, I mean, there's no getting around it. He has to play better for them to succeed. Let's get to the last segment. We're going to do a couple predictions for week 3 of the NFL season. First off, the Monday night game, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens. Both are undefeated. I would argue the Ravens are playing a lot better. They're number 1 defense and number 1 offense. So I'll start this one off. The Ravens have an edge to them this year, I have to say. And for the Chiefs, they really should have beaten the Chargers by a lot more. That game should not have gone to overtime. They don't have that same fire, I don't think. I think they have a little bit of that Super Bowl hangover, and it's going to bite them in the butt this year. The Ravens are pissed off, man. Lamar Jackson's pissed off. Big Truss, Mark Ingram. I think they're going to run away with this game. I really do. I really
run away with it.
I think it won't be close. It
Oh
will not be
gosh.
close. It's watching that game against the Chargers. There was no until the very end. There was no fight. It was just boring. It was like no big plays were happening. Like it just you didn't feel the same vibe as you did last year with the Chiefs. So
you realize that you're saying that Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to lose. Like I can't even remember the last time they lost. So
they were about to lose to the Chargers, but Chargers threw an interception. But so far, the Ravens have one turnover. They don't hurt themselves. They've scored the most points, and they've let up the least amount of points. This is a different team. They're ready to roll. They're taking this season a lot more seriously than other people. Ravens 35 and Kansas City 17.
Wow. I can't believe you just said that. And you come here, like, Jared, you said the Ravens were number 1 ranked in offense and defense.
Yeah.
That's impressive. But guys, who have they played? The Browns?
And the Texans.
The Texans?
They're not that good. They're not that great.
Yeah, but
exactly.
This is a new game in the NFL, and teams are losing to those type of teams. They have not let up once. They have done what they need to do. They crushed them. The Chiefs played the Chargers and took it to overtime.
Yeah, well, the Chargers clearly have a better defense than the Browns and Texans, like, combined.
And that's a division game. They're always gonna, be close. Those games are always gonna be close. Yeah. Just such as Cowboys and Eagles and those types of games. So that's sort of why that game was close. Look, for me, I think the Chiefs are gonna win. I think this is gonna be a high scoring game. I think the Chiefs defense will struggle tackling Lamar and Dobbins and Ingram. But at the same time, Mahomes is the MVP. He's gonna try to find a way to win. And so I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I think it's gonna be pretty close. I'm gonna say the Chiefs are gonna win. I'm probably not gonna give a score, but I think the Chiefs are gonna win.
Yeah, I think I also think the Ravens are gonna win. I think
you were just arguing with me.
I just wanted to be interesting when I said.
Don't trust whatever you say. I'm not trusting anything.
But no, the Ravens are definitely going to win this game. When you watch, just like Jared said, when you watch every team, like when you watch highlights of every team or watch some parts of the game, the Ravens are clearly the team in the NFL right now that are playing the sharpest. They're literally the sharpest team on offense and defense. They're running the ball well. They're tackling. I mean, the Chiefs can't tackle. I don't know what happened against the Chargers. They're not as sharp. They played Thursday night opening game. Andy Reid had 13 days or whatever, or 12 days to prepare for the Chargers, and he couldn't score points. They only scored.
He couldn't see. His shield was fogging up. He couldn't see.
Right. So I think the Ravens take this game. I also think it'll be high scoring. But yeah, I think the ground game is gonna. I think the Ravens are gonna rush for 200 yards between Lamar, Ingram, Dobbins, Edwards. I think they're all going to combine for over 200 yards, and I think Mahomes isn't going to be able to put up enough points to keep up with them.
For my prediction, I'm going to have to go with Jonathan. Chiefs. I'm rooting for the Chiefs this time. I think part of it is that these are two huge teams that are both undefeated, both very good. I don't think anyone would say, barring crazy injuries, they're both going to probably see each other again in the playoffs.
This is for years to come.
Yeah, it could be, two teams one's trying to sustain the dynasty, the other one's, trying to make it deeper into the playoffs, to Super Bowl run. I can see why the Ravens would be a good pick. I'm going to have to still go with the Chiefs just because I think Mahomes is going to edge out Lamar in this one just a little bit because he's surrounded by, I think, so many more weapons that are more variable, more capable as well. And I think what it might come down to, you mentioned it, John, was the run game. I think both teams have good defenses. The Ravens might have a little better defense on paper. And if Ingram does well, I think the Ravens win. But I think it will come down to how well they can manage the clock and have their run game sort of edge out the defense, wear them down. And with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I mean, I'm biased because he's on my fantasy team.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he plays well, I think the Chiefs can win this game, especially with the likes of Hill and with Mahomes can run too. So if need be, we can throw that variable in there as well. And then with the Kelsey and everyone, it'll be a fun game to watch for sure. But I'm gonna have to give this one to the Chiefs. I think it'll be a high scoring game. Let's say like 30, 35, 28, something like that. I hope to see it be a dramatic battle of the fittest. The fittest might win. Survival of the fittest.
I'm
excited.
I just have to add something. Another reason why the Chiefs will lose is because Tyreek Hill can't catch. So that's another problem. I mean, things hit him in the chest and it bounces off. I actually like the one deep ball that he caught for a touchdown. I zoomed in and his eyes were closed when he caught it. So it was all lava.
You're just hoping he caught it.
Yeah, he got so lucky. I've never seen somebody get so lucky. I mean,
That's fair. That's fair.
I need
Well,
him to catch more of those because he's on my fantasy team.
I was gonna say, Jonathan, you need Patrick Mahomes to do well next game, or you're gonna bench him.
We're both biased.
Yeah.
dude, you better not start him in fantasy because he's not going to do that well against the Ravens.
It'd be a bad idea.
Mahomes? Oh, yeah, I think he will.
I'll give
You guys are also forgetting one thing. The Chargers changed their defense this year, right? They went from that traditional cover 3 defense into doing more high top two-man safeties and doing more like man coverage. So like the Chiefs hadn't seen that before. They prepared for the old type of Chargers defense. The Chargers defense added more tools to the toolkit. And so that kind of confused Mahomes a little. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why that game was close. I trust Mahomes. He's the MVP for a reason. He's the highest paid person in NFL for a reason. And you guys will see that this game.
That's fair. Next big one on the list, someone who can catch a lot better. Michael Thomas and the Saints, but without Michael Thomas. The Saints versus Green Bay. Now, the Saints are coming off a loss to the Raiders, a tough loss. And Green Bay is coming off a win against who? I have no idea. Who? Lions?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lions.
42-21, yeah.
So Green Bay is 2-0. Saints are 1-1. Down Michael Thomas. The offense looked very weird. Jonathan, how about you start off this pick?
Yeah, I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers are going to win this. Aaron Rodgers has been looking really good, as usual. But you also have Aaron Jones, who's doing what he needs to do. You have Devontae Adams. I think this offense for Green Bay is extremely good. They keep the ball flowing. Aaron Rodgers has been the leader of this offense for the past couple of weeks, and I think the Saints are gonna put up some points. But we saw them struggle last week without Michael Thomas. We saw the effect that Michael Thomas has on the offense, and so they're gonna have to find a way to get the ball downfield. And Drew Brees, he's been checking down Kamara many times these past couple of games. He's gonna have to find that go-to receiver now that Michael's gone for a couple of weeks. I think they're gonna struggle against this Packers team, but I think mainly the Green Bay is gonna win because they've been putting up a lot of points, and you can trust their offense to continue to produce week in and week out. So,
Caleb?
Yeah, I'm the same thing. I think the Packers are the better team in this one right now. Two great quarterbacks, Hall of Fame quarterbacks right there. But I think right now Aaron Rodgers is killing it, playing extremely well, and Aaron Jones is coming off like he was the best performer in fantasy last week, and he's playing like a top running back right now. So you give a top running back and one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL who's playing really well right now. I think you have to give it to the Packers, considering the injury with Thomas at the Saints. I'm not one of the people who say that Drew Brees is over, but there are some flashes of passes that shouldn't have been thrown in the past 2 games with him, and I'm not really seeing that quite with Rodgers. So I think just overall is a better team. I think the Packers are going to take it. They have Kamara, the Saints do, but maybe it'll come down more to which defense can tamper the other one. But I think this Aaron Rodgers is he's too good to be stopped right now. I'm gonna have to give it to the Packers.
John?
I'm going to have to disagree with you guys. I don't think that the Saints are going to lose this game. I know the Packers have put up 43 points and 42 points, but the Saints didn't seem like they were ready to play yesterday. But I think next week they will. And I know Michael Thomas is out, but that doesn't really matter, I don't think. Like Kamara is going to be involved, and there's really no way you could stop him. And then Emmanuel Sanders was really a no-show. So hopefully this week in practice, they'll be able to get him the ball, get him into the offense. But I think the Saints at home, although they don't have the fans to help them out, I think they'll be more comfortable Sunday night, and I think they'll be more motivated this week. So I think it'll be a close game. And I know how well the Packers are playing, but I don't think the Saints are going to go 1-2. So that's my reasoning.
I disagree. I think the Saints are in trouble. I didn't like the offense without Michael Thomas, but what surprised me most was the defense. I have Waller on my fantasy, and he went off 12 receptions, 103 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know how you leave him open, or you leave him open, Waller, but you cover like a rookie in Henry Ruggs and Hunter Renfrow. He only got 3 receptions. Ruggs got 1 reception. Aguilar got 1 reception. So you're covering those guys, but you leave Waller open the whole game. It was bad defense all around for them. I think Green Bay wins it. It will be close. Drew Brees is a good player, and he will keep this close. But I think in the fourth quarter it will break out. Probably Green Bay 28 and the Saints 21. Like it's gonna be close, but I don't know. The score will say that it's close, but it probably won't be in the entire game. I think Green Bay will have control of this game throughout the game. So Green Bay is my pick. All right, everybody, that concludes week 2, episode, I have no idea, 19 maybe of the Dorm Debate podcast. We're rolling here. We're cranking out episodes every week. Yeah, that concludes week 2. Week 3 on the way. We made our predictions. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at Dorm Debate Podcast. And we will see you guys in week 3.